just being in the moment. It's really nice. I'm Kazabon. I'm a DJ and also one of the founders of Hipsters Don't Dance, and I'm a designer.
I'm Hoo. I'm the other co-founder of Hipsters Don't Dance, and I'm a DJ as well. We met for the first time about 6 years ago at a friend's club night. We were both DJs beforehand before we met and started doing the club night, and we were both kind of a bit frustrated, and yeah, we decided to set up the night that played the music that we loved and the influences that we had.
It was a little bit of a jokey thing because we were going to lots of parties and nobody was dancing apart from us and our group of friends. And like camera people would be following us, people would be making a spectacle of us, and we were just like, oh, what I got really frustrated was saying, why is it that people are focusing on us? Oh, well, hipsters don't dance. And it just kind of became a little bit of a funny joke since then.
I think our frustrations really were the fact that that there are lots of different small scenes together, but not really playing it all together at the same time. Somehow there wasn't a club night that replicated that. It was only at a high level that you saw that. You didn't see, smaller scenes developing from it.
So the music that we bring, I'm Irish, but my dad was born in Trinidad. And when I moved to London, I had more access to, different cultures and different sounds, and I began to, research the music of Trinidad and Caribbean culture and got really into that. And just because I had started DJing, I wanted to play those different sounds and I wanted to hear it in the club and I wanted to dance to it with my friends. And I think as well, it was, similar with Nigeria for you, that it's something that kind of connects us to our heritages. And it's nice to share that with other people, because the music coming out of the Caribbean and coming out of Nigeria and other African countries is like, it's great and it needs to be heard and people need to share it more, I think. I actually started DJing around the corner over here in a place called Point Blank. So I did a DJ course and that was quite funny because I was the only girl on the course and everybody thought they were experts even though they were all on the beginner's course. My dad is big into music. I felt that DJing was a way of me pushing that musical side of the family and kind of getting to listen to more music and an avenue to be creative.
16, I kind of wanted to be the next Pete Pong or the next, Tim Westwood or whatever. So I started at that point, but I didn't really have much of a reference. So it was a lot of whatever vinyl I could pick up at the shop in Cambridge, which tended to be really bad, like pop R&B stuff.
My experience as a female DJ has been interesting. Sometimes it's really great, sometimes it's really frustrating. I think on a whole, women don't get enough props for doing what they do in the DJ scene. But a lot of people have been really great, really supportive, and it's just becoming an everyday thing in DJ culture, which I think is great. But I do think that people need to stop this attitude of, oh, why are you up there? You're a girl. Like, I can select tunes and count beats as well as a guy can. It's not anything that men are proven to do better than women. I do think having more female DJs would influence the music. I'll know a tune and be like, this will definitely get the girls dancing. In dancehall, you have a male and female reaction, so there might be a song by a really big dancehall DJ and he'll be saying all this stuff about sex and whatever, and then a woman will come back with a retort, and it's like a really nice kind of like call and response thing almost. So it's not as if it's just the men getting their say. Like the women get their say a lot in dancehall, which I think is really important.
I think the best DJs out there are people that listen to the crowd and kind of have an idea. I think a lot of DJs come from this aspect and it comes from the vinyl days of where, carrying around all the boxes and stuff like that and having a certain set amount of tunes meant that you had to think of your set beforehand, but you couldn't change it on the fly. Because at every gig we do, we prepare a crate with the idea, but nothing makes me happier than reaching outside of that crate and pulling something in that the crowd likes. I think one of the ways that we really were able to develop our followings, and this is actually really interesting because you were just looking through our old emails, we started back in the MySpace era, like the end of the MySpace era. So much has changed.
Yeah.
It went from MySpace to kind of Facebook to Twitter to now like Instagram, like all these various social media, social networks, social media tools have kind of come to play. We started in this place called Three Blind Mice, which is like a
so small,
tiny former Russian spy bar, like absolutely tiny. The key thing for us has always been flyers, like the actual physical, sticky idea that you hand people flyers, you put flyers up in venues and stuff, and it might just be from our old school mentality, but that's been important.
It's a balance of like real life interaction and online interaction, because you can't just do one or the other. Not everybody's online. And I think that sometimes club nights and people forget that. A lot of our following kind of built through that, is just meeting other DJs and saying, oh, do you know what, you should come down and play. Word
of mouth is about 4 times as impactful as like a tweet or any sort of social media thing at all. I'd say that's more important. Much more than likes, much more like, you think about the engagement of all of social media, it's just a click of a button. Someone saying to someone else, oh, I had a great time at this party, that means the world.
We've moved venues quite a bit, and I think that's mainly due to the London landscape just changing. So we started in Three Blind Mice, and then we found our home at the Camp, which sadly has been knocked down. Is going to be apartments. It's kind of difficult being a promoter in London, because you find a place that really works for you and it's your home, and you built up a reputation with this place and people know it, and then all of a sudden it's just gone.
If you're starting out new, you've got to go somewhere big or somewhere incredibly tiny. So with us, we kind of found ourselves, as we were growing, not having the choice of venues to go go and do something else. What the most enjoyable part of what we do is just seeing people have fun, like just seeing people release whatever energies or whatever feelings they have from the week and just go crazy. We have this 15-minute section at the end that we jokingly call either the erection section or the just the HDD wind down. And it's 15 minutes of songs that everyone knows, and we've made sure to have that in our raves just because we want people to walk away happy. We want people to walk away feeling good.
So we've had spontaneous dance-offs going on. We've had like
police shut down raves, but people still sing in the song.
Friends in like a mutual friend in crutches, but with her leg up on the speaker.
Yeah.
Like it's just great when you see people really, really interacting and just really going for it and forgetting where they are and just being in the moment. It's really nice.
The hardest part, I'd say, is sometimes the slog of doing a monthly really gets to you. You don't have time to plan holidays and stuff like that. Venues are always difficult to work with. If you're a good venue, word will spread like wildfire that everyone wants to work with you. If you're a bad venue, twice as fast it'll spread around. Constant
admin, replying to emails, posting things on various different social networks. Yeah, I think that is the hardest part, is just constantly being motivated to keep going and keep doing it. Even like you might have a bad month and you feel like, oh, I don't really want to do this. Like, but you have to just pick yourself up and just keep going, keep doing it, because it's worth it.
I think the best piece of advice I've ever been given is there is no such thing as too much promo, which is absolutely horrible to like think of as a promoter. That means you need to do more tweets, you need to go fly more, you need to go post them more. It's like it's unrelenting, I think that's the best way of saying it, yeah.
But we do it because we want to DJ. We want to hear and play the music that we love, so it's worth it.
DJing is not a very profitable thing unless you go down different avenues.
Unless you're big.
Unless you're big, there's not a lot of money in it. But ultimately, you have to look at it as promotion for whatever else you're doing.
Every gig we do, every event we do, every t-shirt we sell, the money goes back into the HDD fund, which we like to call it. So like anything to do with HDD basically comes out of that fund. So it is run like a business. But we don't make huge amounts of money from it or anything. But I think that's the way you have to look at it. You have to look at it like, yes, I'm going to put money into this project in the beginning, but hopefully it will turn into something that it can basically run itself, and be realistic with it. And that would be my advice to future promoters who want to do something like what we've done, is just keep it manageable and just be you know, be confident that it will grow.
Be reasonable about it. The amount of stories we've heard of promoters taking, and it's usually students, taking their student loans, booking a night with the big name DJ, and then no one coming to that event, and then they've got to eat, you know, cup of noodles for the rest of the year. Pot noodles for the rest of the year. Like it's
But
all
they
the time.
had one wicked night out, so maybe it's
maybe it's good for them. Maybe
it's
they can live
balanced,
off
who
that.
knows?
But yeah, like you got to be reasonable about it. As corny as this sounds, I would say that the thing that keeps us probably the most relevant is authenticity. I really sound like a 90s backpack rapper right now, but it's that idea that like I think a mistake that a lot of people fall into with the music that we play especially is they fall into the trap of they making it corny, or they make it like they go on about it being tropical, and it's maybe people that don't have the roots to the music in the similar way that we have, but we treat this music the same way that we treat a brand new Beyonce release or a Rihanna release or Katy Perry. You know, we treat this music as just music.
We've always just believed in what we played, and because we've always been a little bit niche and always a little bit outside of what's the norm, I think that's why it's, you know, we've stayed at a constant. We haven't changed for anybody because we just want to keep it relevant to us and the people who love what we do.
You know, in the 5 years that we've been around, dubstep has been a trend, funky's been a trend, deep tech is now the trend. We've never put that on our flyers or necessarily catered towards any of those scenes, because that's only going to last for so much. Like in the UK culture and spectrum, it's very much keen to relegate the sort of music we play to just carnival or just summer music if people are a little bit more open-minded. I'm like, screw that. Why not play this music all year round? It doesn't need to be associated with the sun. Yes, it sounds great in the sun.
But then everything sounds great when it's sunny. You know, no matter what music you're playing, it sounds great when you're lying on a beach or like in a park with a few beers or a few drinks. You know, like it's for all times of the year. It's not just for sunshine. I think the advice that I would give to us starting out with the knowledge I have now is just not to take things personally. That, you know, you can't rely on your friends to come to all your events all the time, because there's only so much support people can give you, and it's not a personal attack on you if people can't come to things. It's, you know, you have to separate yourself if you're trying to run something like this as a business, or like in any creative thing. Be able to separate yourself sometimes from the projects that you've kind of pushed all your energy into. You need to be able to look at it from a business aspect as well.
You can never work too hard at it, and go, like a really big piece of advice that I think a lot of people neglect is going out to other people's things and going out and supporting them, because you've got to foster a sense of community. You've got to go out there and be at places. Just your face being seen at different events, like, puts a personal touch to what you're doing. Forget Instagram likes, forget Twitter, forget all that stuff. Go to someone's event, whatever creative industry that they're doing, shake their hand, say thank you for doing this.
It means so much more.
It means so much more. It means incredibly amount more. Like, there's so much technology on our hands, we can go ahead and build our next sense of industry or entertainment. Go out and support people on the ground level. That's the most important thing, I'd say.
I also worked with the homeless.
Five to Inspire is a series.
We've got 3 themes, past, present and future.